So the next generation grows up in a world in which they don't have to think that much anymore, which means they get used to that, which means they form an expectation, which means if you're in the business of providing any service or product, this product and service has to be so easy to use, or else they will just ignore it. My nephew is 3 years old. Well, he's almost 3 years, which makes a huge difference when you're 3 years old. It doesn't make much of a difference when you're 34 and you don't really want to turn 35, but it matters to a 3-year-old. Well, the other day, he was explaining how wind gets created. And so what he observed was that whenever trees move a lot, they move their leaves, then what happens is there's a lot of wind. So his explanation naturally is that trees make the wind. And when a lot of trees come together and move their leaves at the same time, there's a lot of wind. Now, this is a pretty convincing explanation if you observe the world from the eyes of a 3-year-old. This makes sense. I mean, we all try to understand the world in some way, and we use whatever is given to us, whatever's in front of us. You know, it's hard to convince a 3-year-old that this is wrong, because this is the way they see the world. And then you think we grow up, and then the 3-year-old learns that this is probably wrong, that it is actually the wind that moves the trees. Well, the experience of a 3-year-old, and actually all our experience, is that we have hands too. And we know that when we move them, there is some kind of wind that we can create. Right? Well, that's obviously what trees do. And then obviously, when there is a lot of wind out there that the trees produced, and it hits our bodies, our hands don't move, our arms don't move. So why would the opposite explanation be anywhere near to the truth? It just doesn't make sense, not only to a 3-year-old, but to everybody. We have our understanding of the world, and we use it to explain the world. And this comes down to something that's really deep in us. We need to understand the world, because we want to predict it. Now, recently, I spend a lot of time in the field of artificial intelligence and try to figure out what they do. And right now, if you look at artificial intelligence, it pretty much works like a 3-year-old mind. So artificial intelligence also tries to understand and predict. What they tried to do was train an artificial intelligence to do some kind of diagnosis for people who end up in the emergency room. Now imagine this, 2 patients end up in your emergency room. And they both have the symptoms of pneumonia, Lungenentzündung. Now, if you're suffering from asthma, your probability of dying of pneumonia is much higher than for a patient who doesn't suffer from asthma. So naturally, you as the doctor, what do? These 2 patients come to you. You have to decide which one to treat first. Who do you pick? Well, guess what? All the doctors pick the patient with asthma. They go first. They get preferential treatment, because they would die if you don't treat them. Naturally, a good decision. Now, when you train an artificial intelligence to make the same decision, surprise, that artificial intelligence tells you one thing, and that is do not treat the one with asthma first. Why? Because an artificial intelligence looks at the data, and it sees that people who end up in the emergency room who have asthma die less often of pneumonia than the people who didn't have asthma in the first place. What the AI does not understand is that that's because the doctor treats them first. In both cases, with my 3-year-old and the 3-year-old AI, there's a lack of why. There's a lack of understanding. If we want to understand progress, and this is my point of today, why we all have the permission to change this world, we need to understand what drives progress. And this is way more difficult than to explain how innovation works. We all know the rules of innovation, but does innovation really lead to progress? Are we better off after inventing the selfie stick and the cell phone? Does that lead to progress? Or what does it lead to? Does this make the world a better place? Now, there are 3 drivers, 3 human needs that drive progress, and they've always done so. Now, the first need I talked about already, this is our need to understand things. And the reason why we have that need and why it's not going away is that the moment we can understand something, we can predict it. The moment we know A leads to B, we can predict that B is happening once A is happening. that means we can prepare for the future because we know what's going to happen. So that's why we try to understand, because it helps us survive. If we hear something happening over here and we know there is a lion somewhere, we know what's going to happen and we start running before seeing the lion. This helps our survival. This is a good need. The second need we have is the need to connect to other human beings, because we figured out over time that it makes a lot of sense to have allies. The more allies you have, the higher your likelihood of survival, because they will help you. If you only have enemies, you're probably going to die. Easy lesson for us. Over thousands of years, we learned that it pays off to connect with other human beings. Now we need to understand, and we need to connect. And then we have that third need. And that is one that's really crucial in Silicon Valley right now. And that's our need to save energy whenever we can. Energy in our physical bodies, but also energy in our mind. We don't want to waste energy. So right now, you spend as much energy as necessary to follow, but not more, because you're trying to save energy. This is also anyone who went to the gym before coming here today. Okay, there are a few hands. So you physically exhausted yourself before getting to the end of tonight while not knowing what's going to happen after this. So if a lion enters this room and starts attacking people, the people who went to the gym today are worse off than the people who didn't go, because you exhausted yourself already. So it makes sense not to go to the gym if there is a potential threat out there. Now today, we less often have physical threats, but talking to your boss is the same thing. Right? If you save energy all day long while sitting at your desk and working, you never know who's going to come up at the end of the night. At the end of the day, your boss might walk in and give you something that takes all the energy, so of course you save energy all day long. Now, an interesting thing is all three needs drive the technologies that we see today. It's not that technologies just get invented and then we use them. It's our needs that drive them. Our need to predict is the reason why we have big data, why we have data science, why we try to understand and predict our customers more than we've ever done before. We try to analyze more than we've ever done before because we want to understand them in every detail, so we can predict what they're going to do next and then hopefully get them to buy something. This helps us survive, because today survival is about economics. We economically survive. Okay, the second part is our need to connect. Well, that's pretty obvious. We connect everywhere. I mean, how much time do you spend on Instagram every day trying to connect with other people by sharing what you do and trying to get some kind of response from them while they all try to do the same thing? Why do we do that? Because we try to connect. And even if you think those platforms are stupid, you think Facebook sucks, Instagram sucks, they don't do anything for our progress as humans. Their existence is driven by our need to connect with other people, because that helps our survival. And even if the technologies in between look stupid, these platforms look dumb, they come from a need that drives innovation that at some point will lead us to connect in a better way and make progress that way. Now, the third part, and I said already this is crucial, this drives pretty much everything that Silicon Valley is doing, is our need to save energy. And this is what drives automation. This is why we try to not think. We don't want to think anymore. Thinking is exhausting. So companies that force me to think about stuff that I don't want to think about waste my energy. Right? If you get a product and you can't immediately use it because you have to figure out how to use it first, they make you annoyed. And you're right. You should be annoyed. All companies have to move towards technologies that explain themselves, because we want to save the energy to think about stuff that we want to think about, rather than stuff that we need to use a product. Well, have you ever been frustrated building something from IKEA? Well, this is the business they're in, is to try to make things as easy as possible. Because they know if people get frustrated and annoyed, they don't come back. And we all get used now, because we have these technologies, we all get used to things being so easy that we don't need to think anymore. So the next generation grows up in a world in which they don't have to think that much anymore. Which means they get used to that, which means they form an expectation, which means if you're in the business of providing any service or product, this product and service has to be so easy to use, or else they will just ignore it. Now, this is somehow how we drive progress. And a lot of people in this game talk about technologies as the drivers. It's not technology that drives this. It's us. It's our needs and it's our changing expectations that drive the next generation of technologies. And Silicon Valley is not about technology. It's about applying everything so your life gets easier. They're in the business of making things convenient. They help you connect. They help you save energy, and they help you to predict. Because this is what you came with. This is what you need to do. Okay, so what did happen? How did we get to this place? If you don't have to go that far back to understand how progress really happened and why we actually make progress, even though it sometimes doesn't feel that way. Right, so I live in California, which is probably the place that hates Trump the most. This is hard to accept sometimes, that all of this happening in the world is part of us making progress. If you go back to 1820, major shift, industrial revolution really kicks in. A lot of technologies change how we live. And what has happened ever since? To prove the point that we're actually making progress, even though it doesn't feel that way all the time. Our population from 1820 to today has grown from 1 billion to over 7 billion people. How is that possible? Well, technology's changed dramatically how we farmed, and we needed a lot less people to feed a lot more people, which made it possible for us to grow. Well, at the same time, if you were born 1820 in Germany, your life expectancy was 33 years. Well, that's not a lot of time to make changes around you, to make progress. Today, we're at 80 years. Now, and an interesting thing happens when the life expectancy on one side goes up, and at the same time, the birth rate in a region goes down, which is exactly what happened. We had fewer people having kids, but we all got older. What happens is social change is out of a sudden triggered by something that started as technology, because out of a sudden we had a lot of women who were asking for something to do. They were getting older, and they didn't have kids. So they were used by economic interests, and they were introduced to the markets, to the labor force. Now they all had to change their roles, which in turn triggered men to change their roles too. And we know how they love changing their own roles. I mean, the same suit. The suit hasn't changed in, 100 years, because we don't change things. The interesting thing is, if you have social change triggered by technologies, as happened in the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution, this social change cannot be treated independently of any economic, political, or business changes. This is all the same game. And if you try to understand progress, you have to understand that these are all connected. That the moment women change how they live, the expectations shift, and they become the new generation of customers. And they have different expectations as customers, and businesses respond. Businesses trigger what technologies get used in the next generation, in what kind. So they ask the technologists to come up with something that in the end will serve the new customers better. And so the whole game starts again. The point is, our income today is 13 times higher than it was in 1830. We make a lot more money. Our standard of living is pretty high. We're doing well. We have more kids with access to education, which, by the way, makes the problem even worse. Because if they're all smart and educated, now they all want jobs like that. And then they all want to make that kind of money. And that's fair, because if you look globally, and this is really the only thing you should look at, yes, income inequality. I live in San Francisco. The income inequality in that city is the biggest in the world. Nowhere else in the world is the gap between rich and poor bigger than in San Francisco. You see thousands of people sleeping on the streets, while a one-bedroom apartment starts at $3,000 rent a month. So you know what happens. Of course, no one can afford that apartment, so people sleep on the street because they still need to make money. They need to live there to make the money to survive. So it's absurd what happens, but income inequality worldwide has gone down dramatically because China and India picked up all the work that we didn't want to do. And they're growing. And now China is so successful in their economic development that they start using the other Asian countries around as their hotbeds of innovation and their hotbeds of production. So labor is moving to those countries. And the whole world is making progress. We might suffer from that, but the whole world is doing better. Now the question is, what do we do? What's our contribution? What are we doing to raise the voice that we're given? We have this power from 1 billion people to 7 billion people. Not only did we become more and more people, we became more and more people with a voice, with a standing, with an opinion, and with demands and expectations. And that's a great thing. Now, we all have access to that voice. We all have access to being someone who changes the world. We're waiting. We're waiting for permission. We're waiting for that day that we have a lot of time and a lot of money to change the world. That day is never going to come. What we need to change the world is a big vision of how we want the future to look like, and then be in that moment right now and think of what you can do. Now, you all have that permission to change the world. You've always had it. The question is just, do you accept it? Will you accept it? Now, my boyfriend researches, he's American, he researches LGBT rights in Europe. He has that really weird obsession with Europe, and particular Germany, which is something it's very strange, the conversations we have, because he comes up with a list of things that are great about Germany. And as someone who grew up in Germany, it's really hard to accept a list that only has positive things on it. But I'm trained to fight a list like that. It's really hard to keep quiet and say, yeah, there are a lot of good things in Germany, and then skip the but, because I have a lot of things in my mind that I would want to change. But the thing is, what comes out of this research, what really drives change for a certain group of people and turns them into laws that really trigger what's right and what's wrong, it's economic interests in the end that really push a movement over the boundaries, over the edge. If you look at pride parades around the world, you see a lot of corporate interest involved in having rainbow flags everywhere. Well, they're not interested in the cause, they're interested in the gay people. Because gay people have money, they have money to spend, because we usually have double income and no kids. That's a good thing if you're a corporation. And we also, and this is the major shift that I want to give you as the last point, we're shifting power from decision makers and management to talent. And if you want to attract the next generation of talented people to your organization, you can't be anti-gay. And if you're not pro-gay, you are anti-gay. Today, there is not a single organization in the world that is apolitical. You have a statement. You make a statement, whether you like it or not. Now, for you, this is the same question. Are you willing to accept that you have the permission to change the world? And are you going to act on it? I hope you will. And I wish you good luck with that. Thank you.
Christoph Burkhardt.
Danke.